Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the What's on Joe Mind TeamStream. It's Friday. It's 9 p.m. You didn't have anything better to do. Here we are. I'm your host. I'm Mike Irizarry. And with me, of course, our usual suspects. First off, the queen of G.I. Joe cosplay. You can see her down there in the bottom row. It's Joe Colton, everyone.
Hello.
Joe Colton, how's the last week treating you? Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So we're starting with what we got in.
Apparently so. Apparently so. I cannot.
My husband is very good to me.
Helps that. I just have a 20-ounce Coke Zero.
Excellent.
That's all.
34 ounces.
Well,
It'll be a long night, gentlemen.
That's called a super big gulp.
right,
5 liters.
So now that's the Canadian in you coming out.
right.
Yeah.
Paul, what are you drinking? You have a big purple bottle of something.
Ooh,
I'm
yes.
drinking water. Sorry.
Water.
Dude, it's Friday
Yeah.
night.
I know.
Joe
Very
Colton
boring.
drinks water.
Sad
One
panda.
mouth like poison.
So we were at a Mexican restaurant a few days ago, and everybody ordered waters and whatever. And I was like, hold my water. Just bring me the large beer. And the guy looked at me, and I was like, I get water drunk. It's a thing. Just bring me the beer. It's fine.
I mean, the
That'll
beer,
hydrate you.
the beer is water-based, so...
I keep telling people that, and no one's like, you have to actually drink water. Coffee is not water. I was like, it is. There's caffeine with water.
Yeah, kind of balances one another out for sure. You're doing okay with it, so it can't be that bad.
It's too late now.
Right. Also joining us in the top row, former head of marketing for the G.I. Joe brand at Hasbro. It's the Hot Show, Mark Weber.
Hey, what's up? This is the eve of spring break out in Rhode Island, so about to be a solo effort for 9 days.
Here in the Midwest, we were done with that beginning of this week even.
Yeah, we do. They do 2 spring breaks out here, which is kind of funky, but whatever. It's New England. We know what we're doing.
Apparently.
Except the Red Sox game got snowed out today.
Eeks.
We always get one of those out here. We always get one late Mother Nature flex. It's like, guess what? Still in charge.
Wow.
I'm good with it. It was beautiful here in Indianapolis. And who would know that better than the scribe for the current G.I. Joe series from IDW? That's Paul Allor in bottom right.
Hello.
Paul, how's things since the last time we talked to you?
Things are good. You're right. It was a beautiful day today. Got to get out there with my dog for a while, as I do on any day that's not terrible. So if it's not raining or snowing or extremely cold or extremely hot, we're out there.
You were telling us before the show started that his aim was not that good today.
Yeah. I was saying that he tried to roll around on a dead fish by a creek where we were walking, and he missed the dead fish, and then he almost rolled himself into the creek, and I had to pull him back with my leash. So yeah, my dog is blind for those who don't know. So yeah, these things happen. Yesterday, he actually the mailman knocked when they were dropping a package off, and he was sitting on the couch, which is right there, and he leaped up, fell off the couch. And then he was barking this whole time, ran into this hallway back here, hit his head on the wall, ran back out, ran over his feeder here and knocked it over, ran into the door, which is right here, and then ended up pointing toward the corner here away from the door, barking at it. So and that all happened over the course of 5 seconds. It's boom, bam, bam, boom, boom, bam. I was like, oh, buddy, you are so blind, but you're so adorable.
Sounds like a Three Stooges episode.
Yes.
He's
very good at slapstick.
Videotape this and send it to me. I just want to see him do this.
I never know when it's going to happen. That's the problem. Yeah. The other day he was the stairs outside our apartment. He misjudged where they were, and so he was standing there next to the stairs, with his little paw, pawing up, trying to find the stair, and getting very frustrated. And I was like, I got my camera out as quickly as I could. And by the time I got my camera out, he had figured it out, moved over to the stairs. I was like, oh, so close. That would have been great. But yeah.
I saw a welcome mat you can get that I need for our little dog that says, "Ring the bell and I shall sing you the song of my people."
Right.
Nice.
Perfect.
Right? It's what we need to do is if we build up enough fundage, run the 24/7 shorty cam on the What's on Joe Mind YouTube channel.
There you go.
Just maybe put one of those little portable cameras on him and just pick up what he's doing one day.
Absolutely. I'm game.
Right? Can't hurt. There's no
Nope.
such thing as bad publicity.
I'll just have to take it off before he goes into the creek because he does hit the water a lot.
They're good. They're waterproof. They're good.
Okay, great. We're good then.
No problems there. We're not worried about that at all. He's fine. I'm getting a quick copy here so that we can tell folks all the exciting place that they can donate. Oh no, it didn't work at all. So we'll tell everybody later. But we got a Ko-Fi page or a coffee page or a Ko-fi page or
Oh, nice.
what the heck is it called? So anyways, it's coffee.com/What's on Joe Mind. We also have coffee.com/Joe Colton Cosplay for Joe's individual cosplaying efforts. What you trying to do, Joe?
I am trying to build the animatronic wings for Wonder Woman's golden armor suit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, like, I can build them, but I want them animatronic, because why not?
You'll need that to fight Bad Father Maxwell Lord.
Perfect.
Get those cybernetic leg braces to hold yourself up because it's going to be 400 pounds.
I have found a way to make it lighter, but that's a lot of weight. Not lighter.
Right.
I mean, we do have to figure in that Joe Colton is 7'3" and 305 pounds.
Yeah.
She is a giantess.
So for my Crimson Asp, the backpack is all metal, like metal pipes, metal knobs, like metal tank. Like they're actual real metal, so it's like a 50-pound pack on me. In addition to this,
you don't know, Crimson Asp is a club exclusive character. She basically carries a big flamethrower.
They should know who this is.
I'm telling Paul, who may not know who this is. He's our guest, you know.
I think Paul knows who Crimson Asp is.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes, definitely.
You just mansplained to another man, but that's okay.
He didn't
Please
know.
continue, Mike. Go ahead.
I believe he knew.
Tell our guests.
I'm giving it back to you now. So now that everybody knows who Crimson Asp is, finish your story.
Well,
Yeah.
I think if you go back and look at the video later, you'll see me expressing my face that can be translated as, and that was me going. That was me going. Crimson Asp. Oh, Asp. Okay, gotcha.
Uh-huh,
Yes.
Yes, Crimson
Asp.
Asp.
It was Crimson Asp, the baboon cobra.
There you go.
He throws poop.
For those at a joke on.
He's the poop viper. Just saying.
There you go.
I was wondering, is that Weber's dog or Paul's dog? And it's Emma.
Oh, it's Emma Frost. Yep,
She's like, my web.
no,
He's
she's not.
ignoring me.
She's not facing me. She's looking up the stairs, saying, "Where are all my favorites?" Yeah,
I'm stuck on the bottom with fourth favorite.
she keeps making noise. I'm going to open up that baby gate, and she can go find her friends. Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Then she can wrestle with the cat.
That's it. All 14 front paws or fingers, I guess.
Or toes, yeah.
Yeah.
86-toed cat. So anyways, getting back on subject, only 9 minutes in this time. We're better.
It's actually a record.
I think there was 1 week we got to business after 8. It was weird. But anyways, this week we saw the release of the trade paperback from Paul's run on G.I. Joe. That is G.I. Joe World on Fire. That is my nice copy, only lightly dinged from Amazon. But it is available for you to get on your newsstands today. If you have not been paying attention to his run, this is a good time to do it because it is all collected there. It is all 10 issues, plus the one-shot Castle Fall. So a nice compendium of everything that's happened so far. And I guess the big question, Paul, we'll start you with the big one, because that's all we have really is like 3 questions, and then we just talk about dog stuff for the rest of the show.
Sure.
But the big question is, what is the status of your G.I. Joe book?
Basically, IDW has not made an announcement yet, one way or the other, and I wouldn't want to step on anything of a or to announce. So I know this is what I've been saying to people on social media, have been asking me this for months, and people are, I think, getting tired of hearing it, and I'm getting, tired of saying it as well. But that's,
just make a sign.
That is where we're at. Yes.
Well, I mean, we got a good chunk of subscribers now. Hopefully, that will take care of a lot of them.
There you go.
Okay.
Excellent.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at.
All right. So, I guess the easy answer for everybody, as far as, hey, well, what can we do? I think the answer is, send a tweet, send an email, send something very calmly explaining how much you enjoy Paul's series and want it to continue.
Yes.
Because, the end of G.I. Joe Castlefall is by no means an ending to the story. It is open-ended, and there's still lots of story to tell for that group of Joes and that reality, and it would be a shame to see it end prematurely.
And just to be clear, send that to IDW, not to me, since a lot of people do social media. A lot of people tell me, like, hey, I want to see more of this, and I'm like,
right?
Tell these guys.
Yeah, wow, me too.
Right.
Are they sending it to the official Paul Allor fanfic site, is my question.
I hope so.
Right?
I mean, that's where things really get done. Yeah.
That's what it would be without IDW's okay, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All pros. And so anyhow, I guess we'll go back. We'll touch base with Castlefall, because Castlefall is still pretty fresh.
Mhm.
This book got released right on the heels of the actual run of Castlefall.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And neat story, man. It was nice to see some of these characters turn the page and become something that we do recognize a little bit.
Yeah. We were definitely building up to that all along.
Yeah. Who was your favorite character to write in that story?
Madus.
I'm actually right there with you.
I liked getting Cobra Commander a little more fleshed out, because we hadn't really seen him in any sort of action before then, so that was a lot of fun. I mean, really, I want to say, like, everyone. Baroness, that Baroness Tiger fight was really enjoyable. So yeah, I had a really good time, like, fleshing out a lot of these characters. But yeah, I think Cobra Commander, if I had to pick one, I had a lot of fun with him. His dialogue is just such a joy to write.
He's a deadpan funny bastard.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, I apologize, but spoilers for Castlefall for anybody who has not read it to this point. It's been like 4 weeks. It's your fault at this point. When the bat chases Baroness and Cobra Commander into the elevator,
yes,
and the door closes on it just as the machine gun fire is getting to them.
Yeah,
there's that beat. Well, that was bracing.
That was bracing. Yes. That whole scene, like, I really liked it in the script phase, and then when I got the art back from Chris, the way he handled, like, all the elevator stuff, it was just, I just loved that so much. Absolutely, yeah.
He really has done a bang up job with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd be remiss if we did not mention really all of your artists. Chris hasn't done every issue.
Mm-hmm.
Folks who have come in and filled in for a spot have done a great job as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Emma, Nico, and Ryan have all been fantastic, and then Bri PR colorist has been on every issue, and it's just really just elevated the book to a whole nother level. Just Bri has just done something new and different on every issue, and done such an amazing job of also, like, tracking the seasons. Because the first trade World on Fire basically takes place over a year, and you really see the seasons go by as we go. Like, I actually in the scripts kept track of, like, here's what month it is each time, and the issues took place, like, roughly a month apart. Some of them were a little closer and a little further apart, but yeah, everyone just did such an amazing job. Absolutely.
But for myself, Roadblock would be, he was the one I was just going for the most, because it was fun to see him make the turn from citizen to soldier.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Absolutely. And it's funny because back in the first issue, I initially like the beat where he like kills the Viper and then is sort of like shook by it was really came from a Hasbro note. That in my initial script, he was already a little more further along that journey. And Hasbro's like, bear in mind these are civilians. We really want to show that the impact that would have on them. And at the time, I'll be honest, I was kind of like, this is Roadblock, man. But I'm so glad that they gave me that note because really being able to see that journey was one of the, I think, the fun things about this whole arc. Yeah.
So I'm hogging all the time. Mark, you got anything?
I was as a big fan of the movie Aliens, like probably my favorite movie of all time. Rock and roll shoving something into the face of a bat or some kind of explosive and saying, "Eat this." Just got the Corporal Hicks fan and me all excited. Was that a direct homage or was that just a great line?
It wasn't. It was just a total coincidence. So, yeah. I have to admit, Aliens is the Alien movie that I've seen the least. I usually tend to watch the first one more. But yeah, that's great. I think we're all just feeding from the same action well.
Yeah, no, it works either way.
Yeah.
It could have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as big an Aliens honk as I am, of course, I see it anytime anything even brushes up against it. So
right, for sure.
But I dug that. I was kind of curious. There's a ton of Joe drivers, guys who just drive the vehicles, and Crankcase makes his first appearance.
Yeah,
I don't think we'd seen him before. Did you have a bunch to choose from, or did you have him in mind specifically?
Oh, we'd seen him before.
I didn't remember him from earlier on.
I can't believe you don't remember his extremely prominent cameo in issue 2.
But you turned right to it.
Hold on.
Go the other way, yeah.
That's the back of his head right there.
Oh, of course.
No.
See, his figure is a redhead, and that's close to my heart. So I didn't recognize that yours was aged up a little bit.
But no, more seriously, what happened there is that you can kind of see that like the hint of a mustache on that guy. And when I was looking at characters to use because I needed a driver for that team, I was like, this guy looks kind of like Crankcase, like, and that'll save Chris from having to design another character because you were always running on a fairly short deadline. So I kind of I put Crankcase in the book and I was like, and by the way, Chris, this random character that you drew back in issue 2, I decided that's Crankcase. So you don't have to worry about his design. We've already got him down there.
We're going to
kill him, what was his response? Was he like, oh, okay, great, yeah.
I think this was something in the script, so I'm not sure if you responded directly, but yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Like looked at it, was like,
okay. All right, there we go. But yeah, for sure.
Well, it's a little funny and a little ironic that Hasbro just put him out, right? In their retro line with the Off-Striker. So
I didn't even realize that.
They're not putting a whole lot of classic product out now. So the sync is almost perfect.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, there were a lot of drivers. And one of the fun things about this book too is kind of like, because so many of the characters have very specific military specialties, and that's not so much, what they're doing in this book is very different than that. So it's been interesting kind of trying to align people with that. So yeah, I never did. I always wanted to include at least one panel of CoverGirl working, under the hood, but I didn't get a chance to do that yet. So if we do more, I'll be able to do that. But yeah.
At IDW. Castle Fall.
That's right.
Should not be just a one shot.
Right.
Keep going.
There you go.
So I'll turn back a little further into the series because it's been a few months since we had you. Last time we spoke, it was after issue 7, which was we'll just call it the Scarlet issue. But I want to go a little bit forward from there to the Tunnel Rat issue.
Yeah.
Number 9. And way back when we first met one another in person at CoilCon, you had made a reference. You had said something. We were chatting kind of off the record that doesn't matter now because the issue's done. But yeah, I'm gonna have an issue where I kill some guys, and it's really gonna piss some people off. So who did you have in mind in regards to that? Because some of those characters, obviously, you gave them more run with their one panel death than they ever got in Marvel. So, but some of them not so much. So who were you thinking you were going to really irritate people by killing?
I don't remember. I don't think I was thinking of anyone specific. I just know that like every character is someone's favorite, and so I think that's just what I was thinking. It was just when you kill that many characters all at once, and in their first panel, then and also like originally my plan was to use like 2 or 3 real Joes, and then have the rest of them be like people I made up for that issue. But then I was kind of like, nah, let's just do this. Let's just do it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think I was thinking of it specifically. Just Dusty, I think, is a pretty big one. Yeah, that one was like, do I want to do this? A few of them I was like, do I want to do this? And I was like, yeah, if you're gonna do this,
Was there anyone you weren't allowed to kill? Like, did anyone indicate to you like so and so is off the table?
No.
Other than the obvious ones like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say. When you kill Duke on page 5, spoiler. Yeah, but yeah, I think probably if I tried to kill some of them, then it would have come up. Like if I tried to kill probably Scarlet or Snake Eyes, I think that would have been a conversation. But it didn't really. It didn't ever come up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm always curious when like writers do like stories like this where you're like killing off beloved characters, and it's like maybe on a grand scale or a small scale. If there's anyone off, like if there's direction, like so and so is off the table for whatever reason, like this is off the table.
Oh yeah, like I'm sure. And I give them my outlines way ahead of time, so I'm sure that like when I gave them the outline, if I had killed anyone that was off the table, then they would have absolutely let me know. And I think Duke was a discussion. It's been like 2 years ago now since I wrote that one, but I think there might have at least been some discussion of like, do we want to use someone else here? But I can't really remember.
Or maybe they were like, "Who's Duke?"
Wow.
Throw that out there. We had a brainstorm session once when I was working on Transformers with IDW, with John Barber and the crew, and we had made way too many Bumblebee figures from that third movie, and the fan base was getting a little tired of Bumblebee. And so I pitched to them. I said, "What do you got?" They're like, "What about some big ideas? What can we do that we shake things up?" I said, "How about we kill Bumblebee?" And that was coming from the Hasbro guy, and the IDW guys are like,
"You can't say things like that."
Can we do that? I'm like, yeah. It's comic books, right? It won't last too long, but
right.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Just
to respond to the chat here. Duke is not in a coma. No.
No. Let me be very clear about this. Duke is not going to be A-okay.
No.
Right.
But what I'll be honest, that issue didn't bother me that much, and here's why. In the previous IDW incarnation, they had this bad habit of introducing named characters that we recognized, and often in one panel. But they would be doing like sentry duty, or they would open a door and a bullet would find them, and it was just like these stupid, pointless shock deaths. In your issue 9, the Joes that died at least died on a mission, doing what their specialties called on them to. Like, they were absolutely doing their job. There was no way to translate that any differently. Like, Dial Tone, was killed trying to get the communications rig going. Long Arm died planning a bomb that he couldn't get away from. Tracker and Spearhead were on sniper duty. So like obviously they were all doing their specific tasks that we would recognize them doing, and that made it a little okay. Like even if you hated that they killed your character, they died with their boots on, so to speak. So yeah. it was all right.
Yeah, and that moment at the end with Shipwreck where he's like, "You have to tell me how they went," And I kind of, in my brain, the narration that we see throughout the issue is him telling that to Shipwreck later. That's like, I never make that explicit. But that's kind of how I saw that as I was writing it.
Mm. Yeah. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see how Tunnel Rat would integrate with the rest of your team.
Yet.
So far.
Yes.
Right.
At
Stay tuned.
IDW.
Yeah. Although, I mean, he may never have, because, you know, the idea was that there are G.I. Joe teams all around the world. And I know that's one thing that, you know, Hasbro definitely was interested in seeing me do more of, was showing the global scale of it. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's, I mean, you can see how that could easily open into the next chapter, right? Where did, you know, where'd the bad guys go? They went somewhere. So,
yeah,
lots of room to
and also,
relax.
I mean, this may sound shocking, but I actually had planned to have Snake Eyes in more than one panel. So if we do more, you'll you'll see him on more than one panel as well. Yes.
You got hooked through an entire year of G.I. Joe comics with one panel of Snake Eyes. I think that
Yeah, it's pretty impressive right there.
Yeah, he shows up at the end of issue 6, and I think that's also the latest he's shown up in any continuity.
Yeah. Well, he's always there at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, he was there at the beginning, so.
Yeah. I gave him that great speech, though, so that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
so
a pacifist Snake Eyes.
There you go. What did you say, Mike?
Joe Colton, how much wine have you passed off at this point?
I still got half a glass.
Okay, all right. You need to get to work. We're like a half an hour in.
I'm kind of surprised to see the glass at all. I thought it'd just be a long straw.
Right.
It's not really a box of wine as an adult Capri Sun.
Right.
Like a curly
it is
straw?
a bag.
I know, right? Lots of ways to open that.
So, Paul, we'll consider this the end of Act 1. Was there any character that you wanted to work into Act 1 that you weren't able to?
No, this was pretty much how I planned it being. So yeah, because like I said, I do give him the issue outlines from the beginning. So there was actually originally going to be, speaking of, a little bit more Snake Eyes in the second half, but again, Hasbro is kind of like, we'd like to see a little bit more, around the world of what's happening, and so that's kind of where the Tunnel Rat issue and the Chuckles and Bomb Strike issue came from, was wanting to see more of the global scale and the global reach of it. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely a lot of characters that I plan on introducing when we do more. But this was definitely where I had wanted to be. Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be something to see. I mean, all the issues are great, but for something that had such a strong narrative going, it must be nice to see it all collected together, in one binding. I gotta imagine.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I mean, that's a thick book. I mean,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
And I think, because I've always been a single issue collector, as a comic collector, going way back, that was all we had usually. But I like getting that issue and tearing through it. But I think those trade paperbacks are really valuable down the road when people go, if you never read Paul Allor's run, or the initial run, chapter 1, we'll call it, to be able to go on Amazon and go ... cool, and it's here in 2 days, all of them, the whole story. It was real. So I was a guy who came to, because I was a Marvel fan and not much of a DC fan, I came to Watchmen late, right? Mm-hmm. And there was nothing like getting the trade and tearing through it in 2 sittings over a weekend.
Yeah.
That's one of the real joys, I think, as a comic collector, is when you get a recommendation for something great that you missed. And now you get to binge it. You get to tear through it in a weekend. So I can absolutely see this being almost required reading for Joe fans down the road. People who see the Snake. Let's hope the Snake Eyes movie is great.
Yeah.
And there are new fans to the brand, and so this is just the exact kind of thing where you can say, new to G.I. Joe, here's what you got to read. You got to read the silent issue, you got to read Snake Eyes Declassified, and you have to read Paul Allor's World on Fire. So I dig it even though it's not how I collect, I think there really is a tremendous value to the collected art. And so I was really glad to see that come out.
And the other value to them, the way that it helps out with new readers, is that you can get them from libraries. So even if you're not able to make that financial investment, you can still get into a series that way. Though obviously, I would encourage everyone to buy multiple copies of it and not get it through the library. Free libraries.
Yeah,
but if you must. So yeah. Whereas obviously you're not going to get floppies through the. It's funny. I actually just saw when I was checking to see if the Indianapolis Library was getting this book, the trade. And I saw that they have a copy of number 5, the issue that takes place in Indianapolis, in their collection, but it's like in the special collections room of the Central Library. Like you can't check it out. You can just like go in and like read it there. So I was like, obviously they don't want you to like check out a little 22-page floppy, but that really tickled me that they, since it takes place in Indianapolis, they brought it into the library and they have it like, in the
special section,
the special collections room. It's like this G.I. Joe issue. I love that. Yeah.
I think that's high praise. Like they must have just known nobody would bring it back, right? They would just be replacing it over and over and over again.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The page where you and Shorty were there as Dreadnoks would be torn out at the very least.
Yes, absolutely. By me, yeah.
Yeah.
Get
a little frame on it.
Yep. I'd love to see you trying to explain that to the librarian. No, look. Here's my dog here. Here's my ID.
It's me. It's mine.
As they drag you away, you can use those most satisfying words. Don't you know who I am?
There you go. Exactly.
Nice.
The dog would be so confused.
Right? and the dog would be like, "Where's the stairs? Where's the stairs?"
Yes.
This is paper.
Where's that damn mailman? I smell him.
He does smell the mailman, yes. And all my neighbors. He knows what all my neighbors smell like and barks at them all. Like the people I most would want him to get along with are my neighbors. Those are the people that he like barks at the most. So,
I was just thinking, if he wasn't already a Dreadnought, he could have been the new Order or the new Junkyard, right? In the second chapter, right?
Yeah.
Wiener dogs have big military usage, yes.
Well, Junkyard is in issue 2 as well. So there's yeah.
It would have had been Order.
Yeah.
To totally redo Law and Order, where it's like a bazooka trooper and he's the projectile. Now we're talking. Just thinking out loud.
There you go.
So yeah, Rack Time Rob, obviously another indie native. That issue did seem to do well here. I was in a comic shop a few times when people came in asking for it because they heard about being set in Indianapolis. So there you go.
Awesome.
All the locals want to see the Bats tear apart their hometown.
Yeah. It was also like most of it takes place in Broad Ripple too, which is the neighborhood I live in because I'm lazy. And I had a lot of fun just like walking around taking photo reference for Chris around my own neighborhood. So I was like, this panel takes place on this bridge, and this one takes place on this street, like that.
And that'll be destroyed, and then that'll be destroyed. And that guy didn't give me my coffee right. That'll be destroyed.
Exactly. Yes.
Just kidding, folks.
Right? Like, it makes you wonder if you go back through that book, if the people the Dreadnoks who die in that issue, are they like the people that screwed up Paul's order at the Burger King? Or
they are not. I actually originally was going to send Chris more reference of like people that I do know who live in Indianapolis, like sort of incorporate them into the book. And I was like, he's already putting me and Shorty, and I don't want to like give him a bunch of like likenesses to have to do on top of that. So I'm like, no, I'm going to be kind to him and not ask him to like make all my
every once in a while just stick one in. Remember that time in Indianapolis? That goes.
Right, exactly.
Rack Time Rob did say it took him a few minutes to get over the fact that he had been killed by bats. So it took him a little bit to adjust to that. Usually doesn't hit quite that close to home.
I can imagine. Yeah. And also, one weird thing about that book is that Chris found some photo reference for the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial downtown on like Google Maps. And it just happened that the photo reference he used was basically right outside the front door of Downtown Comics. So like Downtown Comics, they have this panel and I think they actually had Chris. He works digitally, but they had him like do a traditional recreation of that page of that angle from right outside their door, and it like hangs in their shop now.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool.
That's really cool.
Well, I used to work for them back in the day.
Oh, nice.
For about a year.
Yeah.
It was the dark period, but it was fun being there.
Right. Okay.
We're both Comic Carnival guys now, though, right?
I mean, they are the closest to me. So yeah, I have to admit, I'm not in comic shops much these days. But I mean, I know it sounds horrible. Are there any?
I do the show. I have to mention them.
Okay. They're fantastic. I love them. Yes.
They know you're here this week.
All right.
That's true. I'm not used to people. Like, it's one thing, like, you actually do something. So it's one thing for you to be recognized. It's something else entirely for me to, hey, don't you have a podcast?
That's nice right there.
Yeah, no. It's really.
Do you know who I am?
Yes.
Of course, I'm Mike Irizarry. I have a podcast.
I have a podcast.
Yes, I do really like those guys. They're right next to, they're a little bit down from the
coffee shop that didn't make your coffee right.
The pet store where I take Shorty once in a while, and so when I'm down there for that, they let me bring Shorty in, so I'll walk down and visit the shop as well. Let him sniff around their books.
The guy who screwed up his coffee is Buzzer's dad.
Poor Buzzer's dad.
Right, Buzzer's dad. He tough loss.
Even the little thing he's kneeling on where they're going to execute him is a real place down by the creek. And the other day when I was walking Shorty along the creek, he like went out and like was like standing on it and like sat down, and I'm like, no, Shorty, that's the execution spot. Get off.
Not stand there.
Yeah. They're coming for you, Shorty.
Uh-huh.
That's weird because in movies, usually it's the dog warning the human when something bad is going to happen.
Right, exactly.
It's almost completely inverted.
Yep.
Shorty has no fear. No fear.
No.
So here's a question for the rest of the panel. What was the character that you wanted to see get more play? Mark Webber, who did you want to see do more in Act 1 that didn't quite get the spotlight enough?
Interrogator, of course.
No, I mean out of the ones that actually appeared.
Well, I mean, you didn't know Crankcase appeared until Paul showed us the back of his head.
Right.
If your answer is Crankcase, then fine, he's there.
Right? Yeah. I'm trying. I mean, I really dug Tunnel Rat once we got to him, but I think it wouldn't have been as good if we'd had Tunnel Rat around before that issue. So I guess I would be selfish to say we needed more Tunnel Rat, but I dug him so much that I would have liked to. I guess I would like to have seen more, and yet I don't know if that would have thrown it off, right? So
yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. I'll go Interrogator.
I would have said the same thing until that.
Final answer. Love the Interrogator.
I would agree with Weber and before reading that issue, because then after it made I agree. It wouldn't have been as impactful, I guess.
Right.
No.
I mean, I'm always pulling for redheads, so
So you want more Scarlet?
More Scarlet. Well, there's a lot of redheaded Joes, like disproportionately. So
Yeah, I didn't realize how many of you there are.
Yeah, there's a lot more in Joe. They only recruit the very best.
Well, there you go.
See? Yeah. I did. Oh, one thing I love, the total non sequitur. Love that you threw in a Dr. Monocle reference to Mindbender, because it's so dismissive, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's not like she doesn't know what his name is.
Right.
But she can't be bothered to get. She'll actually make more effort to get it wrong.
Yeah.
That's how
yeah.
little she cares about his opinion. So,
Yeah. So she's a well-crafted insult rather than just using his regular name.
Yeah, and in my mentor's first Marvel Comics appearance, they call him Dr. Brainwave like twice. Like somebody mixed it up in the scripting, or maybe I honestly don't remember if Hasbro was gonna call him that and then changed it later. But it almost reminded me of that a little bit. Like they don't even care what this guy's name is. It's just a goof on some level. Or that's how he's viewed within the organization, is he's a quack, right?
Yeah.
He's annoying and he doesn't affect my job much, but the commander keeps him around for some reason, so I have to deal with his garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have killer abs, so we'll keep calling him Doctor.
Yeah.
But anyways.
He didn't go to evil school for 8 years to be called Mr. Mind or Mr. Monocle.
There you go.
Mike, who would you want to have seen more of?
I think we needed more Stalker.
Yeah.
Character that he was kind of hanging around the periphery, and he did get to do an issue 5, but that was really more of a team kind of issue there. So it was a little bit of a different dynamic for the time where he was in the spotlight. But I would have loved to have seen, say, Stalker running around with one of those teams at the end of Castlebar.
Yeah, I agree.
At IDW.
It's a good call on Stalker though, because for one of the tremendously popular Joes, he really hasn't gotten a lot of run in any of the Joe media in quite some time. So
yeah, you did more with him than the last couple of creative teams combined. So I don't want you to feel bad about having Stalker in there the amount that you did.
Well, I will also say a little bit of inside baseball. Originally, Stalker's and Roadblock's positions were going to be reversed. That Stalker was going to be on the team, and Roadblock was going to be one of the instructors. And that was an early Hasbro note, was that they thought that since Stalker was one of the original Joes, it'd make more sense to have him be the instructor. So yeah. So I originally had planned to use him quite a bit more, but so yeah, it would be great to see him do more as we do more. I also agree with Rob that a mission with Rock and Roll's team would have been awesome. Yes. Although technically CoverGirl is the head of that team, so CoverGirl's team.
Yeah, take that rack time, Rob.
Only.
So if you had another run, you would use, assuming you do have another run, we'll go with that instead of when you have your next run.
When Act 2 starts.
Yes, when Act 2 starts.
Yes.
Who that you haven't used or who that you didn't flesh out in this first act would you want to bring in? Like, obviously, like now that we talked about Stalker, you would want to see Stalker, but who else?
You will see in the second season a lot more Snake Eyes and Destro.
Okay.
Are two of the big ones, because obviously we set a lot of things up there that we didn't follow through on. You'll see with the way things ended in Castlefall, you'll see a very shifted dynamic within Cobra that I think people will find very, very interesting. And they won't show up a lot, but I have plans in the second season for the October Guard that I'm pretty excited about.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. Joe just finished her collection, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Yeah. And
I'll just keep sending you photos of each figure.
Okay.
How about this one? Or that one?
Fantastic.
Toberish.
And obviously in this universe, the October Guard, I think we do make a reference to them in issue 8, the issue that takes place in Eastern Europe. Yeah, I think it was issue 8, where they're listed as an ally of GI Joes. So doesn't mean they're an extremely comfortable ally, but they're basically similar to GI Joe. They are fighting the good fight against Cobra in Russia and much of Asia. So yeah.
I mean, that was pretty well always the case, wasn't it? They were always fighting Cobra. The enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of deal.
Yeah, but I think in this case they're like, they were fighting Cobra, but they're also fighting G.I. Joe, and in this universe, like G.I. Joe and October Guard are not fighting each other. I mean, they don't have time for that. Yeah, I mean, G.I. Joe basically is working for a country that doesn't exist, so they're not. Yeah, they've got bigger priorities.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, Paul, before we move on to the Postsac, we do have some Postsac that you're more than welcome to join us for as well.
Sure.
Questions from the audience, if you will. Do you have any final thoughts on your work in Act 1 of your G.I. Joe run here?
No.
All right.
It's been fun. No, it's been such a pleasure and such a joy, and I really appreciate all the support I've gotten, both from Hasbro and IW and also from the fans. It was a really wonderful experience writing this book, and I'm so happy to see it all collected together in a format that hopefully more people will be able to find throughout the years.
In one big chubby trade paper.
Yes.
That's it. That's good enough to wallop your grandpa with right there. Why would you do that? I don't know.
Makes a good gift, right? Just saying.
It does make a good gift, yes.
Yeah.
Christmas is only 8 months away.
Mother's Day, right around the corner, right?
That's right.
Just miss St. Patty's Day. That's all right. You don't want anybody to spill anything on it, Joe. I mean,
Joe Colton, are the kids going to get you the trade paperback?
Yeah. I think.
A tip for everyone at home. Joe Colton does not have children.
I do not have children. I have red ninjas.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get a puppy, I think.
Oh, nice.
Oh, all right. There you go.
and then upgrade later. You can upgrade to a cat.
No.
All right.
Can't.
So, of all the Red Ninjas, do you have a favorite, or are they all your favorites?
They're all my favorites.
I figured. Yeah. Too hard to pick.
I like to dress them the same. That way I don't have to tell them apart. They're just numbered. And you're 1, and you're 2.
It's good practice. 5. Get back here, 5. Do your homework.
They're always within reach.
Let's move into the Postsac. Let's see, did this actually come up for us here?
Yeah.
There we go. All right. I love it when a plan comes together. Howdy, y'all. I'm trying to come up with unique questions you've never got before, and it's getting tricky.
Ooh.
Yes, it is. So here goes. I'm giving you each $100 and the keys to my DeLorean. Which year are you going to, and what are you bringing back? Love the podcast as well as your awesome community. Homer for the 2015 World Champion Kansas City Royals, and I'm assuming Frank White. Joe via email. So there we go. So I guess the question here is, we've got the time machine and $100. What G.I. Joe stuff are we going back in time to buy? And Joe Colton, let's start with you. You're down at the bottom of the screen today. So what you got?
Do I have to go back? I kind of want to go forward.
Hoping the Vipers get restocked.
I would probably go back and
you know what? It doesn't say back. So if you have a year you want to go forward to, go for it.
Oh,
It doesn't, does it? All right. I'm going to go forward. And I'm going to get the next way. I want to see after the movie's released. I want to see the next wave of figures that come out from Hasbro. 6-inch.
So now we've got what ifs. Are you going to get that wave, Joe Colton, or no?
Yes, I'm going to go get that wave.
So I
got the wave. I'm bringing it back.
You're going to 2022, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Or late 2021.
Or late 2023, whenever the movie comes out. 2024, whatever.
I was considering using that line, but I thought it would sound bitter coming from me.
Right. It's nice when it comes from me because I'm laughing about it.
Yeah.
Mark, what?
Yeah. And this is just striking me because I saw some guy posted on Facebook today and said, "Hey, my mom found some Joes of mine that I never opened. And so it was a guy who wasn't even that big a Joe collector, or so he claimed. And he posted up, and they're just kind of random stuff. And then there was a 2-pack of a Night Force 2-pack sealed on card. And the Joe fans were quite expecting a billion of, oh, they're not that valuable. Let's talk a deal offline, right? But the Joe fans responded to him, and they were like, that's really valuable, man. So don't get snowed on it. And for me, because I didn't have a Toys R Us in my hometown, I didn't even know Night Force existed. I had no idea until I was an adult collector and the internet clued me in. So I would love to go back to the era of Night Force and buy a bunch of those 2-packs off the peg, just because they're so cool. And I never got to do that. I collected them later, before they were lunatic expensive like they are now. But I was always such a huge fan. Not always. Once I found out about Night Force, I was so excited about them because I liked my Joes a little bit more realistic. And I thought they made incredible improvements to some of the more garish Joes that I otherwise liked, like Psych Out and Crazy Legs. Like, I just thought that was fantastic. It was like the opposite of Tiger Force, where they took otherwise perfect Joes and made them look like losers. I like Night Force because it took some Joes that for me were a little too sci-fi, a little too not military, and made them cool. Or on some occasions, took a very good Joe in Shockwave and made him fantastic, right? So, yeah, I go back and pick up as many Night Force 2-packs as I could find.
So, Paul, you were not a big G.I. Joe collector as a kid. This is your chance to right some wrongs, man.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do that. Similar to what Joe said, I'm going to go like 5 years into the future.
So when the movie comes out?
And read the rest of when the movie comes out, and read the rest of my run. Read the next few seasons, because that will make writing it tremendously easier if I already know how it came out.
Or it will cause a loop in the time stream.
Right.
It'll destroy us all.
Don't worry about that.
Or because of massive inflation after the zombie apocalypse, $100 won't get you a trade paperback.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll be like, you can get issues 13, 14, 15. That's it.
Well,
It's
again, that's where the library comes in.
Oh, now we're talking.
So
That you're going to rip out the pages from.
Unless
Right.
Those post-apocalyptic libraries, yes.
Hey, where's the picture of the dog? Somebody ripped it out.
There you go.
A bunch of savages in this town.
Uh-huh.
future Paul probably set the whole series in Indianapolis, so he can't check them out.
Yes, perfect.
I'm going to be the basic kid. I'm just going to roll back to 1986 because that way I can spend $50 on a Terradrome and $20 on a Cobra Moray and $30 more on a Mauler, which is still on the shelf. $100, and I'm thrilled with it. I'm still playing with it all the way up until 2021.
That's a good haul.
Perfect.
I'm a simple man. I like dollars. That's what I'm going to buy.
You should keep the DeLorean, right? And just keep going back, buying Maulers, coming back to the future and selling the antenna or the microphone, and then go back and buy another Mauler. And like, this is a whole Ponzi scheme, but I think it works.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, those microphones from Heavy Metal, they're really valuable.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Because everybody lost them.
I figured that out from context, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Just checking, man. We want you. We want everybody to be able to play the game.
There you go. Excellent.
Next letter. In regards to all the stuff about Snake Eye's race and the importance of him being an outsider. And this is in regards to the discussion we had last week about the movie. It's important to remember, especially when talking about Japan, and even more importantly, when we are speaking about a quintessentially Japanese cultural expression like the ninja, being, quote, Asian doesn't make you an insider. In fact, Japan is, to this day, well over 90% Japanese, and there are persistent biases towards other Asian peoples from neighboring countries with deep historical roots. The emphasis on cultural sameness is reflected in Japan's incredibly restrictive immigration policies today and in the downright draconian policies of the early modern period. Obviously, this does not reflect the perspective of all Japanese people, but it serves to illustrate the larger point, which is that Japan is not some sort of progressive Pan-Asian society. Thus, Henry Golding, who is half white and half Malaysian, is squarely an outsider from a traditional Japanese perspective. Beyond his race, he spent his formative years in the UK. He is just about as far from Japanese, and thus as far from being a cultural insider as you can get. Sure, he has Asian features, but people seem to be operating under the notion that all Asian people share a common cultural heritage. This is silly. People need to spend a little more time educating themselves before responding with reductive opinions. Yes, we grew up with a white senpai. No, there was nothing wrong with that. But as Mike says, the really important thing here is that he's a cultural outsider. That's the core of the classic origin, and in fact, Snake-Eyes is still a Westerner, still has white ancestry, and still not Japanese. Final thing to note here is the importance of moving past the, quote, white ninja trope that was new and interesting in the 80s, but which has grown a little tired, and in the minds of some has contributed to the paucity of leading roles for Asian actors in Hollywood. And this is a comment left for us on last week's episode by Henry Myers on our YouTube page. And I just thought it was thoughtful and well written enough that we needed to include that here, because I think it made a lot of points that if you'd given me a month, I'm not coming up with this stuff.
Yeah.
This is a great take to me.
Also, I find people are confusing, or purposely or accidentally confusing, a Malaysian British actor with the character.
Right.
It's two different things. Also, being half Malaysian does not equal Japanese. Those are two very different cultures. They just, one is Southeast Asia and the other is Northeast Asia.
Thank you for the geography lesson, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And I find it hard to believe that Hasbro/Paramount decided that that they wanted this one particular look of an actor to be Snake Eyes, right? I think they knew this was a critically important role for the relaunch of a franchise, and they farmed it out to as many A-list guys as they could, and they took whoever the best name was, the best actor, the most interesting take on the role. I doubt if it was a plan and they went, it's got to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that Henry Golding was the best name or best actor who said, yeah, I can do that. It fits in my schedule. And they went, great, because we really want a strong box office appeal leading man to head up our franchise. And so I don't
can connect with multiple cultures and ethnicities.
And maybe that would always, I mean, that might always be an advantage, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that didn't hurt. But I think they started at the top, and if Tom Cruise said no, then they moved on. Yeah. And if Harrison Ford said, "How'd you get my number?" I'm sure they just moved on. So I get it, but I agree with it's Mike's take. It's a lot of people's take, but Mike has trumpeted and championed this, and I completely agree with it. The important thing is he has to be an outsider, because that fuels the seed of dissent with Storm Shadow in a way that you don't have to agree with, but you can understand. That's really important. And it's part. I'm not saying they have to do Larry's origin, that they have to stay truthful to that. But I think there has to be a really good reason to kick that part out, because it's critical to how those characters fracture. So
I just wanted everybody to know that while you guys are making very important points, I was going out of my way to get a close-up on Short Round.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Good point. All right.
No, I can't. It didn't work. Okay. We tried. Yep. Good boy, Shorty.
Good boy. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with all this. Everything this person says as well. But oh, come on, buddy. But
That's fine. It's Weber's dog, so don't worry about it.
Usually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we did make Snake Eyes Japanese in our book as well, which is it's set in his file card though. Obviously, he only is in one panel. So, but we did that before they announced the casting here. So I was actually kind of like a little relieved when they did the casting. I was like, oh, good, they're gonna get a bunch of heat for it, and then we'll be able to just slide in under that. So, but yeah, like you said, the outsider thing, and the take that we had was absolutely that being an American and his physical condition after the war and with his injuries would absolutely make him an outsider. And that's what matters. Like you said, that's what matters to the character.
Okay. So thank you, S. Myers, for getting down in print what we were unable to verbalize.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and funny because a lot of this spiking as a topic was because of Golding's unboxing video, right?
Right.
That's what really put him back on the map, right? After the movie has been pushed so much. So wait till the trailer drops, right? Yeah. And a whole bunch of eyes who kind of know Joe or used to pay attention to G.I. Joe see this and go, what the? Oh my God, I can't believe they changed.
I gotta say, watching him unbox his figure was like watching a kid open his first G.I. Joe. Like he was so close to being like, look at this is fucking awesome.
Well, she waited a full hour this time.
I did! That was good. It's
Pretty good.
10 seconds.
Anyways, 2 weeks ago, Paul, to fill you in, Joe set the record for earliest cursing on our program. When we go live and immediately the first words out of anybody's mouth is, I fucking hate you, Mike.
No, I said you're a dick.
Yeah,
I think that was it.
There you go.
That was next week.
Right out of the gate. So that's it. We're proud of her for making an hour this time.
But the faithful who tune in, when we kicked off the show like that, they were like, it's going to be a good show. No, it's going to be a good show this week.
True. Next letter.
All right.
Out of curiosity, I checked to see what movies Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins will be up against on July 23rd. Oh. The only other movie scheduled to release on the 23rd is Old, a chilling, mysterious new thriller about a family on a tropical holiday who discover that the secluded beach where they are relaxing for a few hours is somehow causing them to age rapidly, reducing their entire lives into a single day. It is an M. Night Shyamalan feature. However, the week prior, we have two heavy hitters, Space Jam and Cinderella, and possibly some spillover from the July 9th release of Black Widow. Thoughts? And this is from Skinny via email. So good question there. Really, I hadn't seen anybody look up the schedule so far. So nice take here. Mark Weber, you know all about movies and getting pushed around on a schedule. What do you think?
I mean, it's nice that there doesn't seem to be any direct competition that same week. I think we still have no idea how movies are going to play out pandemic wise, right? How soon are you comfortable going back into a theater, right? And if a lot of people are comfortable quickly, it's that old Gilby Bear line, right? Where he says that restaurant's too crowded, no one goes there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if a chunk of the nation is vaccinated and they're like, I cannot wait to go to the theater. If theaters are pretty packed, is that going to keep you from going? So I just wonder how quickly people are going to be ready to get back to the theater, because I love the theater experience, right? There ain't nothing like paying $9 for popcorn, but seeing a movie you're really looking forward to, especially a spectacle movie like Black Widow will be, and like we hope Snake Eyes will be as well. There's some movies you just have to see in the theater. But I can't say when I'll actually be comfortable enough to go to the theater, other than, maybe going on like a Tuesday at noon when I know nobody's going to be there. But I don't want to be in a packed theater now. Optimistically, come July, maybe. But I just wonder I wonder how soon the theater experience will get back to anything we consider as normal. So it is interesting that they moved it up, notably in the schedule, because obviously the safer play is to keep pushing it out. But so many massive hits keep getting pushed out that there is an opportunity for what they call blue water, basically, by pulling it a little bit ahead. So given my history and my experience with this third G.I. Joe movie, I was just excited to see it move in a different direction.
Very true. My take here is that I think it's going to see more. Like Snake Eyes will have more competition from Black Widow than it will from Space Jam or Cinderella. Mm-hmm. I think Space Jam and Cinderella are kind of different audiences there. It's more counter programming than competition. But I think that Black Widow release just 2 weeks before will determine a lot of walk-up business. You know, like if Black Widow is a big hit right out of the gate, maybe not, because everybody will get that first viewing out early. So I don't know. But I really think Black Widow is the key to this. I think the success, it's going to be successful, right? Like it's a Marvel movie, it's an Avenger, it's Black Widow, she's popular. It's going to be a successful movie. But I think if it's one of those just knock your socks off Black Panther kind of success stories, Snake Eyes is in trouble. But
Black Widow will also be available though for like $20 on Disney Plus. I think Snake Eyes is probably the first movie on the schedule that's going to be the first big tentpole movie that you cannot see streaming, even if you're willing to like pay a bunch of money for it at home.
Good point. It's a good point.
I know I'll probably be seeing it at a drive-in theater. So yeah, that's probably my level of comfort. But then we'll still be like, theaters. I don't know. You know, I live in Indiana, where there's not a lot of people getting vaccinated here. So yeah.
Well, and I wonder if it'll hurt Widow that the main character, we know her end story, right? We know how she dies. Like I'm really excited for the Black Widow movie, and I like that spy part of the MCU a ton. But I can't lie, I would have been more excited about a standalone Black Widow movie 5 years ago, right? Or 4 years ago.
When they should have done it.
That's Marvel's fault or Disney's fault or whatever. That they didn't believe enough in a fantastic female character to lead, not I would say lead with that, but to go to that quicker. And that's where a lot of people think Marvel versus DC has been a theater knockout, but you have to give DC credit for getting Wonder Woman out and having it be fantastic before Marvel could counter with their own. I guess Captain Marvel was their first. So I'm excited for Widow, but I think I would have been more excited a few years ago.
I don't know. I mean, as far as her being dead, this Loki series is going to play with the timeline, so maybe she won't.
That's possible, but I love a good death on screen. Like in comic books, we're so used to it, right? That when they come back, we're like, well, it's comic books, right? It's not Uncle Ben. They've all got a chance to bounce when they hit the ground. But a movie death, is resonant. As a matter of fact, I just rewatched Endgame, and that last shot of her, splat on the ground, that's really something. And so, I don't know.
Anyway.
I almost made a mindbender joke when you said that.
You are my friend. Way down there.
And that's the end of Postsac right there. We got a little dancing guy back from last week. He makes me happy.
I also hope M. Night Shyamalan wasn't watching that last question, because he's probably crying now if he was.
Yeah,
No one's taking my movie seriously. I could be a threat. But is he?
Well, I mean, it's funny because my son is 13, right? So he's 14. He was just getting through some of the early Shyamalan stuff that he was finally ready for. So I think people forget sometimes, because of what's happened since, how great some of his early stuff was.
That's true.
I mean, we just watched Sixth Sense
Yeah.
for my son for the first time, right? And I always thought Signs was incredibly underrated. I'm a big fan of that movie. We watched that too, and so it is a shame how some things have gone since. But at one point, man, that was some top shelf entertainment. He was put that.
Yeah, honestly, one of my best theater going experiences was seeing The Sixth Sense in the theater like opening weekend without knowing even that there was a twist. So that was really is the best way to see that movie is, you know, to go in knowing nothing.
Yeah, and before he got so well known for that being his thing,
right. Yeah,
right? Because that's all anybody thinks about now is, well, I'm just going to wait for it.
To the point where, like, The Village, I like called the twist when I saw the trailer. You know,
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
I saw that in the Tom Cruise flick, and if you're waiting to see Oblivion, you know, don't listen right now. But when the trailer came out on the front of the movie, and I go, he's a clone, and the dude behind me went, damn it, sorry. Honestly, that's not on me. That's on the studio. Like,
what was the one with Mark Wahlberg, the M. Night Shyamalan movie with Mark?
Oh yeah,
The Happening.
Sure,
Yeah.
but I called that one in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it's the plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, it's only 10 years gone by, so whatever. I regret nothing.
The only thing about Signs that bothered me was that the aliens, their weakness was water, and they were like hiding in the cornfield. Like, you know, anyone who's been in a cornfield in the morning knows that is an extremely wet place. So I think there might be a little bit of a cultural disconnect with M. Night Shyamalan there. But yeah.
Yeah, like corn is one of the crops that need the most water.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're hiding, they're moving around a lot. Anyways.
Not a lot of cornfields in Philadelphia.
Exactly, yeah.
So dumb.
What can you do? What can you do?
What can you do?
Not much, apparently.
No.
I'm abstaining from commenting.
And, hey, we haven't even talked about Space Jam yet, right? Isn't that the LeBron Space Jam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
So I assume he's going to join the Monstars team as an easier path to a championship.
Joe seems like she has very strong opinions about the Space Jam movie.
I think that's he does that, and then several other NBA stars do that, and then the Monstars actually leave the Monstars and join the Toon Squad and help them win a championship. And that's your story.
Don't they have to go to Brooklyn? I think they all have to go to Brooklyn. That's how it works now.
Yeah. Sure. Somebody's got to fill in for LaMarcus Aldridge. Poor guy. But anyhow, that brings us to what we got in, where we brag about stuff that we got in last week. Whether you think it's cool or not, we don't care. So Joe Colton, a big old box of wine.
No, that's what she got in today. She got a different box last week.
Yeah, that's true. This is our third box of wine this week.
It's like Pringles. You can mix them.
Paul, you're our guest. What'd you get in this week?
Happens to be right next to me. I was not planning this, but I picked this up from the little free library in my neighborhood. I did not know that Denny O'Neil did the prose novelization of The Dark Knight, so I look forward to checking that out. So yeah. And I also got in, the trade of World on Fire and Hollow Heart #2, but mainly the Denny O'Neil prose book from 15 years ago.
I can get those signed for you. I know a guy.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic.
Just saying.
Joe Colton, what'd you get in?
I got the Blu-ray for Wonder Woman 84. It's not my favorite film, but I want to support the franchise. So
Yeah, Wonder Woman's kind of your thing, so it's
yeah.
okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
There's a copy of Rise of Cobra on my shelf. Okay, I
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. So
That's like me buying a Bon Jovi album. Like, I know it's gonna suck, but I'm kind of vested at this point. So
yeah. Yeah. Well, it didn't suck. I just think Patty Jenkins can't write third acts. That's what I'm suspecting.
And there's a damn third act in every movie too. Hard to
right?
find that. Yeah.
With a climax that you just
Curse these movies having to end.
Man.
I saw someone on Twitter say something about 84, Wonder Woman 84. I was like, oh man, that's so accurate. Where they said like every sequence in that movie seems like it was written by a different committee that didn't know what any of the other committees were doing. Which I know that's very harsh, but look, not wildly inaccurate either.
No. That movie had a fantastic cast. It was not constrained by budget. It had people that were fired up. It had a fan base that was fired up to go see it. And it
missed the mark.
Yeah, it just I wouldn't say it laid an egg, but it certainly wasn't a bullseye either.
The first 20 minutes were amazing.
Yeah, I give you that.
Yeah.
And then it also had the weight that a lot of the DC movies lately have been disappointing.
Yeah.
But not the original Wonder Woman. Third act notwithstanding. And so I think a lot of people were like, good, thank God, here comes another Wonder Woman. Can't wait. Then they're like,
See,
it's like when you're...
The DC movies have been a little bit better lately. Like the Batman and Superman ones were pretty awful.
Yeah.
But Aquaman was okay.
Aquaman was great. Shazam was great.
Shazam was fantastic. I loved Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as good as Wonder Woman in my mind. But, Suicide Squad, I didn't...
Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of whatever. Yeah, no. That was a waste. And as a woman, I was like, dear God, come on.
And as a man, I was like, dear God, come on.
I'm very cautiously optimistic about it. Is it V Batman? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know.
At least one of us is.
I mean, I tend to be optimistic, and then after things come out, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
They got me again. But
it's better to be that guy, though, right? Than to be the guy who goes, well, it's probably going to suck.
Right.
And then the movie has to convince you otherwise.
Right.
I go in with no expectations in all movies now.
Yeah.
And I'm like either hopeful. I'm hopeful for it. He's not a convincing Bruce Wayne or Batman. More like an anorexic, weird guy.
See, I have always thought that being Batman isn't that hard, right?
No.
But being Bruce Wayne is the key to a convincing Batman movie, which is why I liked Bale's rendition. I thought he did the kind of tortured, irreverent way, slightly irreverent in a dark way.
Well, in the first two movies, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third one.
That third one, he was terrible. Wasn't his fault. Again, bad writing, good performance, but
yeah, great cast.
Like movie Batman has been okay. Like even I don't have a problem with Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought he was
I love Ben Affleck's Batman.
But my God, give the man something to do.
Yeah.
He was better in Zack Snyder's version rather than.
Look, for everybody out there crowing about how releasing the Snyder Cut was such a great look, clearing that bar is no great shake.
I know. It's not like Joss's version was fantastic and you had to beat it.
Yeah, I mean it was. You traded a version of Justice League that knew what Superman was and was a terrible movie for a movie that was okay and had no idea what Superman was. So,
Superman's not that deep. I'm not sure how you get him wrong.
Yeah, but Zack Snyder did, and several times. Just bad movies, bad Superman movies, bad Superman character. Boo. Sorry, I'm on a rant. An incoherent rant at that. I'm booing myself. Confounding.
I'm hoping the third Wonder Woman is.
Paul, you got any thoughts here? I hate drowning out our guest on non-Joe talk.
I have not seen any of these movies, so the Justice Leagues, the Batman v Superman, yeah.
In the big picture, you're better for this.
Yeah.
No, believe me, I have no regrets.
It isn't because of lack of access, I'm guessing.
Right. No, it is not.
Choice. I don't want to lose 2.5 hours of my life.
Yes. I've seen Zack Snyder movies before. That was enough.
A friend of mine
Very
came to visit
beautiful.
once. A friend of mine came to visit once with a whole pile of movies and said, "Hey, have you seen Fast and the Furious 6?" And I went, you know what? I missed 1 through 5. And he totally missed the what I was getting at. And he's like, cool, we'll watch it. Oh. Cool.
Clever.
Yeah.
I need you and I to watch Fast 9 trailer together.
What I want to do.
Trailer.
I just want to watch it with him.
I hope that I'm feeling good and that comfortable enough in the theaters to go there. Oh my God, there's a lovely Elizabeth Nicholas cameo. I want to go on night 1 with all of the maniacs.
Yeah.
And I want to heckle the movie live.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to go with you. I just want to watch you watch the movie.
When the 18-wheeler does the front flip and then the helicopter picks it up and throws it through the moon base or whatever, I just want to be the one guy who goes, that couldn't happen.
Can I just tell you, they go to space in this one.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
Week, Paul.
I'm so excited. I want to watch the trailer with you.
I'm sure Vin Diesel just sits on an M80 firecracker and they just launch him up to the moon. And
so, Weber, what'd you get in this week?
Okay, well, 2 things. 2 things. And I need a little advice on this. A lot of people got their Snake Supreme Cobra Commander in the fall, but mine was later for some reason. So, great figure, very, very detailed and everything. I don't even know if this is hard to show. But you see the nice gold striping going up his right by the brutal chest cut?
Yeah.
You see how mine's not painted?
Yeah.
Above the belt?
Yeah.
So do I just hang on to that or do I check out a little Hasbro customer service and be that guy?
Just paint it.
On a decorative figure like this, I think it's okay to be that guy.
I mean, it is a little more expensive than the regular stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe if there weren't a brutal chest cut catching my eye, I'd have missed that. But
I think on a figure like this, where it is very clearly a decorative kind of thing, I think you're all right being that guy.
By and large, Hasbro customer service is excellent. So if they have one, I'm sure they'll replace it for me. So I may ring that bell this week. And the other one, the slow reveal on this is going to be great. A lot of guys I've seen online buying 2-scale Harley Davidson motorcycles and stuff for their dreadnoughts, right? Because from other toy companies and other replica stuff, because they want all their dreadnoughts riding their Harleys and looking like a motorcycle gang, right? So I was in the supermarket and who's this guy?
That's Skidmark.
Skidmark, great name. I just happen to have him handy, but he's a driver. But look what I got here, baby. Now we're talking. That's right. It's a 2-scale Vespa.
I like the Vespa.
For whoever you want to be your least threatening Joe or Cobra.
I still say you got to throw buzzer on the back of there.
It's pretty slick, right?
What are you saying about Vespas?
Nothing. Yeah, but there's no Tiger figure. I guess it's lazy bastard custom time. And I'll have to get my Vespa going. But yeah, that's what I got in.
What did I get in? I don't think I got much. I got Paul's trade paperback.
All right.
Well, you won, obviously.
I also picked up Paul's other series he's got going on right now. First 2 issues of Hollow Heart.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Recommended. Deep characterization in that book, Paul. Why don't you talk about Hollow Heart for a minute?
Sure. Hollow Heart is it's a queer monster love story. It's about a jumble of organs in a mech suit who is stuck in a lab and wants to get out, and he meets a mechanic who is willing to help him, but things are a little bit not quite what they seem, and it goes to some very weird and dark places. And it's a very weird, quirky book. It's very different from G.I. Joe, obviously, but I think that people who like my writing in general will really dig it. It's really been connecting with people in a way that's been very heartening. I'm doing it with Paul Tucker. It's coming out through Vault Comics, and like you said, the first 2 issues are out, and it's a 6-issue mini, so we got 4 more coming out in the next 4 months. I
mean, we're in issue 2, and things are already, like you said, weird and dark. So if you like horror comics, This is a good horror comic. This is a great horror comic.
Thank you.
I have no idea what's going to happen next, and that by itself is keeping me ready for issue 3.
Many terrible things.
Well, I mean that. I suppose the dread is all that. The dread is all I can get a finger on.
Excellent.
And I got to imagine, even though writing on Joe is great, it must be a totally different exercise when you're writing something you totally created yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely a different part of your brain, and I enjoy them both. But yeah, and I think I tend to treat my licensed books more like creator-owned books than a lot of other folks do. Like I tend to try to push them in their own distinctive direction as much as the licensor will let me. But yeah, when it is something that you've like co-created, with in this case my artist and co-creator Paul Tucker from the start, it's a very different thing.
And so that's it for what we got in. I do have some cool stuff coming in next week. So I'll have some. Everybody likes it when we get toys. I'll have toys next week. So that brings us to shoutouts. And Paul, why don't you go first again? You're our guest. Who are we giving a shout out to out there?
I'd like to give a shout out to everyone I worked with on G.I. Joe: Chris Abenhouse, Bri Peer, Neil Uyataki, Emma Viacelli, Nico Walter, Ryan Kelly, and our wonderful editor, Bobby Curnow. Shout out to all those amazing people who made this book great.
We'll continue to make that book great.
Yes.
All reach out to IDW.
Yeah.
IDW Publishing.
IDW Publishing.
And tell them that we want more of Paul Allor's G.I. Joe.
That's right.
Yes.
Joe Colton, who we shouting out to?
My shout out is to my hubby.
The Wes Whitlock?
Yes, for the wine and making me dinner after a long day. The teachers that have to continually deal with students during COVID, as we're still in a pandemic, and the frontline workers who are still working long, exhausting hours trying to make sure they contain and help people, and the frontline workers who are administering vaccines. And then my group of friends who William, Maggie, Julie, and Galen that are our bubble with Wes and I. And knock on wood, we've been very good in keeping our bubble safe. And so now we're all getting our vaccines. And so now it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice. So I got my second vaccine this week, and it was a little rough, but it was totally worth it. The side effects are the headaches and the exhaustion and achiness for like 24 hours or 36 hours or whatever was totally worth it. So hopefully I get to see my parents soon. So,
Yeah.
That's it. Those are my shout outs.
Honcho Mark Weber.
Mine's easy. Mine's the all family edition. So to my son Derek, my daughter, the lovely Elizabeth Weber, who's waving off camera, my wife Michelle. They're headed to Arizona to see my wife's family and cousins this week. So I'm excited that they get to take a trip because they haven't done that in ages. And they're leaving me the house to myself. So I'm excited about that. And that means I only have one sibling, my older brother Mike, who's coming up from New Jersey to spend 4 days up here. So
Paul, grab a case of Lowenbrow. We're heading to Weber's.
it's gonna be so good. Like there's just something totally different about like a whole family get together, and then like when you just get to spend time with any of them, just one-on-one. So Mike and I haven't had any one-on-one stupid brother time. So we're gonna dive into that. So it's gonna be a really good visit. Can't wait to see my big brother Mike.
Yep, excellent. So basically, you're going to turn into me and Ragtime Rob.
Yeah, like what you guys do all the time, we're gonna do for like four straight days. So it's gonna be all takeout pizza and wrestling matches on the TV, not between the two of us. He's bigger than me. And movies and just
That Got that mustache, man.
He's a retired police officer, so he is grandfathered in on the giant push broom mustache. So
Mustache.
yeah, he looks like. Give me a big push broom mustache and add about 3 inches of height and 50 pounds of muscle, and that's Mike Weber. Yeah, so he's
Terrifying.
something. Yeah, so I'll treat him well because the alternative is terrifying.
Now, if that character shows up in Hollow Heart #6, we'll know.
Right? Hard to miss a redheaded mustache that big. So
That's the big bad at the end of the book.
yeah.
Now
Well, and he has to win because that much red hair pretty much can't be stopped.
No, it's impossible unless you get him out in the sunlight.
Oh, and
He goes off like a man.
look out! There she goes. She's wearing an Undertaker hat. What's going on? Rest in peace, Biz.
I'd say she's taking her time too. She knows she's starting to like these cameos, isn't she?
She got to buy it. She's the only one who's not afraid of the camera. Actually, Derek probably wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But the other day, Mrs. Weber, the lovely Michelle, wants no part. And so the other day she was trapped down here on an Eternal Baseball podcast. And I was a total gentleman. And not only did I tip my cap to her, but I tipped my cap. Maybe I've got it here. There we go. I did the hat tip and gave her room to escape. Just like that. So let it never be said that I don't have the soul of a gentleman.
Did that get you husband points?
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna save them up for. They're kind of rare, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I know she's taking the kids, right? So anytime one of us is gone for a long period of time, when the vacationing one gets back, or the one who didn't have the kids, they get them like coffee mugs, right? It's like, here, you take them for a while. So I'll have to step my game up in about 9 days.
Yeah. No big.
It's fine. It's 9 days away. Not even thinking about it.
It's less than a beer and they're unconscious.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, my daughter's 11. She can't hold her liquor at all.
Oh,
Not at all.
just half
Kids
a
these
beer.
days.
I'm going to send her to Joe Colton training camp this summer.
I have a story to tell you.
Oh, I can't wait. She'll come back cursing like a sailor and drinking like one, too. Can't
Probably.
wait.
But you know what? At least guys won't be able to take advantage of her trying to make her drink a lot.
That's true. That's true.
And then I'll show her how to give a really good right hook.
Now we're talking, right? It's the Joe Colton Marion Ravenwood training camp.
Right? Soft
Great.
spots, the eyes, the nose, and the throat. That's where you gotta.
I heard a great line about fighting someone larger than you. They say there's no eye machine at the gym. I like that.
There is not.
There's no eye machine. Nobody skips eye day.
No.
Mhm. Or armpit machine either if you got a fork.
That's true. I used to ask my brother, because we grew up wrestling fans, hey, you ever get to do any cool like grappling moves as an officer? And he was like, you know what's most valuable? Grab a pinky and bend it backwards.
Paul, this is every week I get to do it.
Yeah. But I thought that was cool.
Oh God, the tangents every week.
Apparently, bend the pinky backwards works on everybody.
Yes.
So anyway, back to Fast 9.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So they sent him to the
Condoning
moon, Paul.
violence
To
is
the
not
moon.
good.
To
Yes.
the moon. I want to go to the opening night cosplaying as a magnet based on the trailer. That's what I want to do. It's a giant magnet.
Weber, can you please tape yourself watching it and just send it to me? Like I just want to see your face.
I know enough about it to know that it's kind of embarrassing that Cena's still not as good as The Rock.
Anyway,
Right?
You know it's a $5 billion franchise?
Sorry, Mike.
It makes me so sad. It makes me so sad.
my shout outs, of course, the unsung fourth man of What's on Joe Mind, Oli
Oh, Rob.
Only
expect more rack time when we get more G.I. Joe books for him to review.
at IDW Publishing.
IDW.
Give a shout out to our sponsors at Kokomo Toys. Sing
Oh yeah.
with me, everyone. Kokomo Toys.
Kokomo Toys.
Kokomo
still there.
Toys. Kokomo Toys.
Kokomo Toys. I was going for a Beastie Boys thing.
First, we all shout something. Then somebody shout something. Yeah.
That's it.
fun. That's fun. But yeah, Paul, you used to be a journalist up in Kokomo, didn't you?
Yeah, I lived in Kokomo for 13 years. Yeah, I was a journalist there for 3 years, then I worked for the city there for 10 years.
All right.
Yep, I was there when Kokomo Toys moved into their very cool current location. I used to stop in, and every time I would write a new character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I would go and buy their figure from Kokomo Toys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you were kind of sponsored by Kokomo Toys too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And
there are a couple of spots down from the comic shop there in Kokomo, which I helped them open up as well. Helped them when I was working for the city get a small business loan and pick their location. And they just happened to pick a location across the street from City Hall. So I was like, hey, this place is open. Check it out.
Yeah.
And then I could just stop there on my way to my car on Wednesdays.
That's nice.
And you've done something tangible to help the world for all us dorks.
There you go.
It's a good thing.
I was going to say it sounds like government corruption, but I'm going to let it go.
Yes.
But
I'm going to let it go.
Glad to hear it.
I'll allow it.
Also want to give out a shout out to our guest, Paul Allor. Big round of applause for Paul Allor. Everybody at home, we can tell you're doing it too. And a shout out to, of course, my co-hosts, Joe Colton, Mark Weber, to everyone watching us here in the live team stream, and to everybody who is watching this on recording far in the future. We've biffed on 2 impromptu contests in a row, so we're going to hold off on doing any more impromptu contests. But we'll figure something out. We do have plenty of gifts here that are ready to go when we get to 1,000 subscribers. Maybe some people should share some videos.
Good idea.
And of course, like this one, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I will say that most of our viewership has subscribed. We're up over something like 8%, which is good.
Yay!
The trick now is, of course, not to keep getting the same people. We love that the same people keep coming back, but we need the same people to start spreading the word.
Yeah.
So take us to your social media. Take us to Twitter. Take us to Facebook. We don't care. Spread us around. We're like a terrible disease. We're like a plague. We're like locusts. We've been doing this for 10 years. Our anniversary is in 9 days. 9 days. 9 days till 10 years. That's how long we've been doing this. Wow. So please help us out by spreading the word and getting this format changed more to book. Paul, you got any last words for the What's on Joe Mind universe?
No.
He's like, you guys are insane.
I feel like I dodged the bullet with the impromptu contest thing. So yeah.
We're just trying to give toys away, Paul.
Oh, okay. Not like a contest where I have to do something.
No.
Okay.
We got stuff from Kokomo Toys.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, nice.
That's the new stuff. That guy looks like
everybody. That's what you missed out on.
Yeah, that's Lady J in Frontier.
That's correct.
Almost.
They didn't get his beard right, but otherwise,
no,
that's Frontier.
The beard is terrible.
Beard is not good. But
apparently, that was the same paint app machine that handled my Cobra Commander.
Right?
Yeah.
Look what you started, Paul. Look what you did.
Sorry.
So just know full well that when we start getting subscribers and start doing contests again, that we have these in the quiver.
Nice.
So why don't you guys leave me an idea on what we should do for a contest to give these bad boys away?
How about a hintless,
down below?
A hintless crossword puzzle.
Nah, those never work.
Nobody like that. I'll pitch it a couple more times. You'll like it 2 times from now.
I'll like it the 3rd time.
You will.
I'm already sold.
For my guest, Paul Allor, for my co-hosts, Joe Colton and Mark Weber, I'm Mike Irizarry. Thanks so much for joining us here on the What's on Joe Mind team stream. We've made a lot of noise about getting vaccinated. I got shot number 1 today. Joe got shot number 2 earlier this week. But please exercise your freedom of choice and choose to wear a mask. Keep the people around you safe. Keep yourself safe, too. This has been What's on Joe Mind. Have a great night. We'll see you next Friday at 9 o'clock for the next team stream. Good night, everybody.
See you short round.